All right, boys, let's get into it. This is the first inaugural, the inaugural Racing Boys Championship for this year. This is a proposal for how we should maybe run this championship over the course of this year. Everything is open to change or discussion, but I figured let's chat through some options. So let's get into it. At a glance, what are we talking about? Assetto Corsa Evo by default for the rest of the year. We've got a hot lap and a race kind of point scoring mechanism here. We've got a reverse grid hot lap for that. Our leaderboard stays the same. And we have our race steward, Matthew Fraser, officially stepping up into the official race steward role. So we know the drivers, it's all four of us, but we do welcome late entrants. And I say this because we do have some other folks who have started sniffing around a wheel. David Wakelin, I hear, is currently looking at Facebook Marketplace, so we might have some additions. We're not kind of building any any catch-up mechanism here, though. They're just going to join at a deficit if they do join. So what is a round? We have a number of rounds over the course of the rest of the year, and it basically has three parts. We've just got the selection phase, the hot lap phase, and the race phase. We'll talk about those in a little bit more detail, but both the hot lap and the race are going to have points associated with them. What we're going to do is start with a selector. And the selector is, by default, the person who's on the lowest points. And they become the selector, they choose the next combo. And what we're allowed to do here is choose the conditions on the track, any setup limits or any setup tweaks to the car, as well as, of course, the car itself. It can be anything that you want. Ideally, it's just not the same shit we've done before. You can reuse the same track or you can reuse the same car, but let's try to mix it up. Let's definitely not do the same track and car combo. Say, for example, let's do a wet version of the same thing if you really, really want to go back to Bathurst, for example. You probably don't want to pick like fucking nightmarish conditions. Like, let's not do the Nürburgring 24-hour in the rain in an old fucking Volvo. That'll be a nightmare for everyone. But hey, if you really want to, let's discuss it. And of course, we'll stick to it. The selector can probably suggest other people to be the selector. If people get stuck being the selector the whole time they don't want to be, we can move it around. But by default, it's the person who seeks to gain the most by controlling something that's closer to their strengths. So how do we score, and what are the two halves? So we've got the hot lap side of it, and then we've got the race. So both of them are going to have their own points associated with them, and they're both going to feed in, obviously, to the same championship. So we've got the hot lap competition. That's what we're doing at the moment. This is, I suggest we set a window at the start, somewhere between 1 week and 4 weeks. Of course, we're doing exactly what we're doing now, straight to the Test the Internet website. And we, of course, are paying out points for the different positions on the hot lap. This then informs the race. As we talked about last night, it's a reverse grid race. This means that if you come first in the hot lap competition for that specific combo, you are going to be last on the grid. It's going to be a 30-minute race. We are going to have at least one mandatory pit stop, which I think will be fun. And we're going to have a fastest lap bonus point, which will be hopefully a little bit of fun. If we're not necessarily coming first or second, maybe we can still get a point there. Maybe we can up that value, actually, to be a little bit nicer than 1 point. How are we going to score? I've set up the scoring for the hot lap and the race to be identical, because a hot lap can be a whole week of nerding out over exactly the best lap times in the corners, and then the race itself, you could just bin it into a wall, or you have a bad corner, and I really want the race to feel exciting. So the goal here is that the race and the hot lap are worth equal points across the different standings. We can revisit these standings if we have more people join the competition as well. So how are we going to make sure people don't drive like assholes? So I figure the simplest thing we're going to do here is have a penalty point system, and by a penalty point I mean you just lose championship points. So these are championship points we're talking about losing here. There's no duality here. This is all going to be officiated by our official race steward, Matthew Fraser. Within a couple of days of the race, if we really, really want, maybe we should just pretty much do it immediately afterwards. You could submit a clip or submit a moment to Matt and he'll make a decision. Kind of stuff that's going to maybe have 1 or 2 points is if, hey, you're swerving in front of someone, you're slowing someone up and it really fucked with someone's race, a couple of points off maybe if you're moving under braking or leaving track and gaining an advantage and maybe not giving the position back, then maybe there's a few more points there. If you're ramming people, if you're driving all over the fucking road and people having to swerve to avoid you, you're wrecking someone's race, you might lose a whole point race worth of points / forfeit what you actually already have. So it's up to our steward to decide. Of course, if you're cheating, you're fucking out, man. Let's not cheat. That goes without saying. And that's it. Let's fucking race until the end of the year. If we do have a tiebreaker for some reason, we'll work something out at the end of the year. And again, this is until the end of 2026. Maybe we have some kind of reward at the end of it. We do have a full rule set that has been put together here. The question of all of the details we can nut out, but I figure what we should do is upload this and use it as our backbone. I'm fucking excited ever so clearly. Let's fucking do it. But give me any thoughts if you guys feel differently, and let's chat.